All right, welcome everybody. So many Americans picture modern China as basically Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and maybe Guangzhou, and the general idea is that everywhere else in China is somehow behind in development. But I lived 4 years in Wuxi, a normal medium-sized city in China most people have never heard of. And we're going to look at everyday urban infrastructure to show how developed cities beyond China's famous ones can be. So many Americans assume smaller Chinese cities are behind in development or chaotic. Media focus and social media reinforce this impression by showing only extreme examples. But cities like Wuxi don't fit that narrative. So in Wuxi, we have smooth running systems, clean streets, and reliable transport. And Wuxi is not a tourist city by any means. It is where millions of regular people live and work. And what I thought it was going to be like was that it'd be rougher than it actually was, which that was true in certain ways, but I could say they were actively working very hard to develop the city. So Wuxi, it is not a flashy city, but it is a very functional city, which reinforces that everyday urban life in China is modern and organized. And as I settled in and moved around the city, it became clear that much of what makes Wuxi work is built into the city itself, from streets and metros to public spaces and everyday conveniences. So Wuxi is a coastal city, but it's not a mega city. It shows everyday urban life for millions of middle-class Chinese people outside the big internationally famous cities. And it's not just Wuxi by any means. Many medium-sized cities in China are well-planned, modern, and functional. And again, modernization is not confined to Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, or Guangzhou. And in China, millions of people live, work, and commute comfortably in cities most Americans have never heard of. And China has a long tradition of large-scale building and city planning. Modern infrastructure is the latest version of what China has always done for thousands of years at scale. So planning and execution are deeply ingrained in China's urban development. So if we wouldn't judge America only by New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, or Chicago, we shouldn't judge China only by Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, or Guangzhou. So from observing streets, metros, and public spaces in Wuxi, it's clear that these cities function at a level Americans don't usually expect outside the big famous ones. And moving millions of people efficiently is essential for a modern city. Even medium-sized cities like Wuxi have organized transport systems at work. And personally, as an expat, I usually took a taxi or Didi, China's Uber, its main ride-sharing app, because my school that I taught at was close and it was fast and convenient. But most Chinese people can't afford to take taxis every day, but the system is reliable and efficient for those who do use it. And also, most medium-sized American cities have very limited or even no public transit. Even cities with metros, like Chicago, they're often older, slower, and harder to maintain. Also, Chinese cities tend to be spread out, so maybe not the most walkable globally, but compared to most American mid-sized cities, they are far more pedestrian-friendly, especially in downtown and residential areas. So transportation is just one piece, but when you add in public spaces, parks, and digital systems, it becomes clear that these cities are planned to make daily life efficient and comfortable. So even medium-sized cities like Wuxi have clean, well-maintained parks and plazas, and they are designed for everyday use by local residents, not just tourists. So for that reason, Chinese people spend quite a bit of their free time outside socializing in public spaces, which makes city life in China feel lively and connected. Also, payment systems, ride-sharing apps, bike sharing, and metro cards are everywhere and seamless. Infrastructure is built with everyday efficiency in mind, allowing millions of people to move and interact smoothly. And also, I relied on these apps frequently, and they made life very convenient in China. Also, many American cities, even large ones, they lag in digital integration and public space planning in comparison to China. Streets, parks, and transit are always coordinated for ease of everyday life. And for that reason, people spend less time socializing outdoors. But in China, Again, this level of coordination and efficiency isn't random. It's part of a tradition of large-scale planning in China, now executed with modern technology and engineering. So cities in China, they are designed for everyday functionality, not just aesthetics. And Wuxi is a great example. It shows efficient streets, metros, and public spaces that serve millions of residents seamlessly. And also, China has a large pool of engineers and STEM-trained professionals directly involved in urban development, and planning and construction are faster and more coordinated than in most US cities. So China is also constantly building and upgrading infrastructure, both new projects and maintenance. And its scale of investment in infrastructure in China far exceeds that of the United States. So in this sense, China is still developing, but its cities are modern, efficient, and forward-looking. So in the meantime, many American cities mainly focus on maintaining aging infrastructure. Smaller American cities often even lack reliable public transit or coordinated city planning. So seeing how cities like Wuxi function should make Americans ask, what if we invested more in planning, STEM, and execution? Could we catch up? So China invests heavily in infrastructure, both new and maintenance, and it's often modern and efficient. American cities, by contrast, often focus on repairing aging systems. And China's approach combines planning, engineering talent, and efficient execution, even with plenty of STEM talent in the United States. Our systems aren't built to scale the way China's are. So public spaces, walkability, and outdoor social life make cities function better for daily life. Americans can learn from this model without copying every detail. So looking at cities like Wuxi should make us ask ourselves, how can we make American cities not just functional, but efficient, livable, and forward-looking? So just to summarize here, roads, metros, public spaces, digital systems, and transportation work together seamlessly in China. Everyday life feels efficient, organized, and user-friendly, even in non-famous cities. And China is continuously investing in new projects and maintenance, and the scale and speed of development dwarf what most American cities can achieve. And smaller American cities often lack coordinated planning, adequate public spaces, or seamless digital systems. And even with lots of STEM talent, execution and long-term planning often fall short. And people spending time outdoors in parks and plazas reinforces community and livability. And Americans could rethink urban spaces to encourage more public social life. So when you combine planning, engineering, digital tools, and public spaces, it's clear why cities like Wuxi function so well, and why Americans might pause and ask, what can we do differently? So cities like Wuxi and many others in China show modern, efficient, and well-planned systems beyond the famous megacities, and public spaces, transportation, and digital integration create livable, functional urban environments. So China still has less developed areas, just like any other country, but this video focuses on cities where infrastructure is working exceptionally well. So we don't have to copy China exactly in infrastructure, but they do show what's possible when planning, engineering, and execution work together at scale. And seeing these cities in action should inspire us to invest, plan, and execute better in American cities to make them more efficient, livable, and future-ready. And that's all for this video. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And if you found it informative and eye-opening, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And also, maybe in the comments, could you tell me about perhaps your first-hand experience with China's infrastructure, or maybe what surprised you the most about China's infrastructure in this video? I would like to know, so I'll see everybody for the next time.